How's it going, everyone? Today, in this episode, we're going to get started working on our playfield. We're not going to populate everything on our playfield. We're going to get our pop bumpers put back in so we can flip this over and work on everything on the bottom side of the playfield. As you can see, I got new pop bumpers bodies. I got this one put together, and before we put our light socket, come on out of there. Before we put our light socket in, you can see that light socket's pretty dirty, so we'll clean it up with one of these nifty little light socket cleaners. And then we can, let's see, slide our light socket down in there where it belongs. And we can set our pop bumper right down in there. Don't worry if you don't have, about everything underneath lined up, because once we flip this over and get our pop bumper put soldered, our light socket and all that, we'll do everything underneath. So you have your new body here, and put on your thumper ring. And we need our switch plate, our spring, and I didn't have new ones of these, so we're using the old ones. There's nothing really wrong with them. And right down on there, he snaps in there. Get our light socket, and we'll clean up our light socket. Two screws back in. And now we're ready to flip it over and do everything underneath. I wanted to show you at least putting those pop bumpers together. See, these have those little arrows on them. I have one pointing up and one pointing down. It doesn't matter. They don't mean much. You can cut them off if you want, or you can leave them on. Usually I just choose to leave them on. They're the only person that knows that they're on there is you anyway. Okay, so we'll flip this playing field over and start working underneath. Now what we're going to do underneath here is we have to get our pop bumpers put back together. We have to clean all of our switches and get our vary targets. Not very Get you zoomed out a little bit. Yep, get our very targets cleaned up, switches, inserts. You know, we got lots of work to do under here before we even attempt to start populating the playing field. I don't have all the plastics in yet, so I don't really want to populate it until we have everything to populate it with. So let's get started on cleaning up everything. I think the first thing we'll do is we'll work on these very targets. And I'll get you set up where you can actually see what the hell I'm doing. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to finish getting our pop bumpers all hooked up. If you remember, when we put these back down on temporarily, we just put one screw in it. Now we get our socket wires pulled up, bend them over a little bit so the socket stays in the pop bumper. Get our wires soldered back on, that way we can finish it up. Put a little bit of snot on them. See, I'm not real fond of that switch there. I did order 2 new ones for our pop bumpers in case we run into a problem with that one, because I seen somebody had made one up for this pop bumper. Oh, that one's hard. That's better. Oh, that sucker dirty. And you can see on this pop bumper coil, let me get it turned around here, we're missing the diode. Each one of these should have a diode on them, and we're missing the one on here, which I will replace as soon as I get them. I probably have one but I don't feel like hunting for it right at the moment. We will replace it. Ooh, come on. Our coil. It still looks good. Coil stops good. And yeah, that sleeve, she's been used. Hey, now we got our new sleeve in there. I finished up this pop bumper, got that one all done, and I remembered where my diodes were and put a diode in. That diode is, let me step over here and I'll tell you what it is. 1N4004 is what goes on these pop bumpers and all your coils. Okay, re-sleeved our kicker, so now we have new sleeves in all three of those coils. And now we're going to work on these very targets, not berry, very. As you can see, when your ball hits it, depending on how hard it hits it, it clicks up on here, on that coil, and then it resets it. And how that works is, on the back side here, you can see our green wire runs to all of the contacts at the top, and then you have single wire here connecting to 3 contacts, and 1 wire connecting to 2 contacts, and then all the way at the top would be your highest score, which I'm thinking is 1,000, 3,000, 5,000. Let's get, here, you look at the playing field for a second. Okay. Here's our very target. So, thousands and scores bonus. So, okay, you get 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000 if you hit it all the way to the top, and lights spinning target when it hits the top, which is our spinning target is right here. So number 1, if you just hit it slightly, and it comes up, and you can see it'll connect these two, or these two, or these two, giving you 1,000. Then if you hit it a little harder, it goes up and it'll score 2,000 on the next two. And then if you hit it hard and it zips all the way to the top, then you get 3,000, and it also lights your spinning target. And if I'm not mistaken, every time you hit it, if it goes up, it scores and then resets. But I'm not positive on that, so don't quote me on that. It may be that it resets after every ball. So on these very targets, we have to clean, get you around here, clean all these contacts here. You can see them. You've got to clean all those contacts. Plus, there's the 2 here that connect it. These 2 leaf contacts here are connected inside here. So all it does is it runs all the way up through and all the way down. So what it does is it just connects these 2 up. So what we have to do is we need to clean all those contacts on there and on our other very target, and make sure everything is nice and free, like that. And this one, yeah. So I'll get those cleaned up, and those will be ready. Now how I'm going to clean them is I'm just going to use a piece of 320, and I will get in here and clean them up. You can't see me doing it, so I'll get them cleaned up, and I'll show you after I get them cleaned up. Okay, got the very target units all cleaned up. You can see the contacts are all nice and shiny. I see something shiny. And I put a little bit of our contact grease on them, so it helps them from wearing out. And now we need to clean some switches. Excuse me. And see, we have 2 relays left. We have the game over relay and a tilt relay. Those are the only relays on this machine. A lot of these System 1s have their own pop bumper circuit board. It's just a little bitty board that sits down in here, but this early solid state does not have it. It's controlled by our driver board. So these are the only two relays left in a solid state. In this one anyway, an earlier one. And we need to clean those up and make sure that they're closed when they're supposed to be and open when they're supposed to be. See, this one has one switch here in the front that's closed in the out position and two open. And when the coil sucks it in, it closes the bottom two and opens the top one. On our tilt, our first set of leaf switches, you can see, has two, one on either side. And when it's out, this one's closed and the one on the underside is open. And the next one is closed and closed. So when the coil sucks it in, it opens the bottom two and opens that very top one and closes the one underneath. So we need to get them cleaned up and get all of our leaf switches here cleaned up and make sure they're all adjusted and not going to be on when we turn on the machine. And these are all the same type of switches that, like these rollovers, when it rolls over, let me get down in there a little bit. When it rolls over, it closes the switch and it scores your points. This is our spinner leaf switch. When that spinner spins around, what it does is it constantly just opens and closes that real quick. Clean that, make sure that's in good condition. Hole's a little big, like she's a little wore or somebody had to change it out and they didn't have the right one. But then we have all of our rollover switches here that we have to take care of and clean. Same with down here, our tilt. So we need to get all those cleaned up. And then when we flip it over, then we'll do our standing leaf switches for our points on the top of the playing field. Right now, underneath, you can't clean them, you have to clean them up top. And we'll get those taken care of. And let's see, I think that's about all the leaf switches there are that we need to clean up. And we get them cleaned, and then we can start putting in all the new light bulbs and cleaning our inserts. And you can see that they spray painted this hole after they had the insert in, because that insert is covered with overspray. That's not me. That was them sealing those up. But yeah, we'll get all of our inserts cleaned up too. So let's get all of our switches clean first and make sure everything's all adjusted. Got all of our switches are clean now and adjusted. We had a couple of our rollover targets that were pretty far apart. I don't know if they would have made contact when the ball rolled over them or not. So I adjusted a couple of those. Those are good. All of our, I think this is A, B, C, and D. Those are good. Rollover's good. Our two out lanes here are good now. Out hole's good. Tested our coil. Our coil is 0.023. I checked our flipper coils. Those are 0.7s. And this is our 0.007, and our kicker is 0.005. So I'm pretty sure our out hole coil is good. It didn't give us a big ohms reading or just a dead short, so I don't know. I'm still leaning more towards those boards weren't the original boards for this machine. So next on our list here is we're going to rebuild our flippers. And we'll get them all squared away. So once we're done, I rebuild the flippers and then change all the light bulbs and clean all the inserts. Everything under the Playfield will be done, ready to go. We won't have to mess with anything under here. So let's get started on rebuilding these flippers. Now let's get these flippers rebuilt. Kind of bear with me. I forgot my good camera at the store today. So the lens on this one gets a little noisy at times, and sometimes it doesn't. There, you can hear it. And it doesn't always want to focus real quick. So just kind of bear with me. On these Gottliebs, you gotta take up the whole plate to get to your bottom bushing or top bushing, however you want to look at it. So to do that, we're going to be changing our end of stroke switch and all that anyway. So we're going to unsolder our end of stroke switch. Then we'll take our coil off of here. 2/4 screws holding the coil retainer. Unhook our return spring. There, right, now we'll take off the coil stop as well. Just make it a lot easier. There's our coil stop. Yeah, she's a little... Where you at? There you are. You can see she's got a little mushroom on it. There's our link. And let's see. It's not wore too bad. You have to have that. But yeah, a little bit. Nothing too terrible. There. We'll swing our coil out of the way. Pull our sleeve out. It's not the greatest. It was time. I don't know how long these have been in there, but you know, it's time. Let's see, we'll pull this bushing. Take off the old understroke switch. I don't know why they have that all balled up. Boy, that... Yeah, I don't know why they have that all balled up. But, boy, that's an ugly looking switch. And now we got to take the whole plate off first. And there's our bottom, our top. And there's our top bushing. Gotta keep remembering that you can't see. If I hold it hold it up to where I can see it. It's like, oh, see, there's your bushing. Yeah, well, you can't see it, but I can. I don't know how old they are or how bad they are, but we're getting new ones. I got our kit here from Marco. Marco? No, sorry, this is from Pinball Resource. There's our new end of stroke switch. And here's one bushing. And there's two bushings. You have to go through all that just to change that bushing. But if you want to do it right, now we can mount our plate back down. Okay, change out your solenoid rod and link. All you have to do is drive that drift pin down through and then put the new one in and drive it back in. Now you don't have to worry about which way it goes because both sides of this are the same. It'll go in. And as you can see, that is pretty well wallered out. Now I guess there is a right and a left. You want your loops for your spring sticking out this way. Okay, we got our new coil stop here. Let's see, we'll get our Oh, need a sleeve. Sleeve our coil. Oop. Need our coil bracket. Where did our coil bracket go to? There it is. Need this guy. Put him on there. Put our rod in there. Get a couple. Ooh, you were gonna let me forget something again. We need one of those. Oh, where you at? There you are. Need one of these. Oh, way to go. Put our sleeve in, and then this guy goes right on there. And what that does is helps stop our coil from buzzing. When you're holding the flippers. It stops the coil, well, it helps the coil from buzzing. Now I'm gonna squeeze this coil as tight as I can to make it that. Got our end stroke switch put on. If some of you were wondering why there's 3 lugs on your flipper coil, is the flipper coil is actually two coils in one. There's a small coil and a large coil in this wrap. The large coil is what gives you your flipper power, and then when it hits the end of stroke switch, it switches over to the small coil to hold the flipper in place. That way you're not burning up a coil, you know, that's strong. You don't want to be burning up the strong coil. At least that's how it was explained to me. Slobber. I need some slobber. Let me heat this bottom one up a little bit so I can get it through the eyelet. Too much crap on my gun and my soldering iron. You don't want to cooperate. There's one. There's two. Get our new flipper return spring. Now we're ready for our new flipper, and we can adjust our end of stroke switch. Alright, so I got that one done. Now I'll do the other side and get it all taken care of, and then we'll put the flippers in, and flipper shafts, and get that adjusted up, get our end of stroke switch squared away. Flippers are done. Got those all rebuilt. I was kind of messing around with them when you're rebuilding them like this. Your shaft and that will hang down a little bit, and what it does is it binds up the piston in your solenoid. Well, took me a little while, but then I realized that when you flip this over, these will hang down and adjust better, and then they'll be a lot looser. You can see it kind of hangs up with it like this because it's dragging in the, it has the piston kind of cocked a little bit on an angle, so it's not smooth in and out. But once you flip this playing field over, your flipper will hang down and then it'll line up. So it took me a little while to figure that out. So if you're doing it like this, once you get your flippers rebuilt, then flip it over, and then you can adjust them where you want them. I just kind of have them in there half-assed right now because I'm waiting on the new bats. Now all we have left to do on the bottom side here is just to clean all of our inserts and change all of our light bulbs. And then the bottom side of the playing field will be all ready. So let's go ahead and get all those inserts cleaned up and all the new light bulbs put in it so it's ready to go. Normally to clean these, what I do is I have a little cup here with some mean green in it, and I just take a cotton bud on a stick and just get in here and clean them up. Most of the time you can get them pretty clean. They get really funky on the inside. Because of the just the dust and the heat from the light bulb. I'll just take a rag here and wipe them out. Just keep doing it. There's some of them that you won't get clean. There's a couple up here that, like I showed you earlier, that had overspray on them from when they painted the playing field. And those ones, short of changing them, they're just going to be what they are. But most of these other ones that are white, you can see how dirty that one is in there. It's time consuming, but it's worth it. It'll brighten up your playing field when your light bulbs are on. There. See how clean that come. I mean, they're not going to be like they were from the right out of Gottlieb, but they are going to be a lot brighter. I think there was a spider in that one. I wonder how he liked that. There. Okay, and then take your socket cleaner tool. Light bulbs, I'm using 47s because they're a little cooler. They're not quite as bright as the 44s, but I think I would rather use the 47s that run a little cooler to save on all my plastics and inserts Now all you have to do is adjust these where you like them. And try and center them the best I can. There. Now those ones are all ready. I have a few more to finish up, and then the bottom side of this playing field will be complete. So let me finish getting those cleaned up, and then we'll get finished up here. Now we got all the inserts clean. All of our little ones. Our big ones. All the way up through. Cleaned up the star rollovers a little bit more. Like I said, they had the inserts in here when they painted around this hole just to seal it up, or color it so you don't see raw wood, because those are our stand-up stars. So when they've shot that in, the inserts were already in and they got overspray on them. Same over here with that one. But I don't think we're gonna notice it. We'll take a look and we may have to change them, but I don't believe we're gonna have to. We'll see what they look like. This machine here, I'm kind of leaning more towards just leaving it all original with the incandescents and no LEDs in it. If somebody wants to do LEDs, they can, but I'm not going to. I don't think anyway, but who knows. Things change, and I may change my mind and spend the money and just buy the LEDs and do an LED kit on it. So the underside of our playing field is done. We got our flippers rebuilt. We tested this coil because we had problems with the board looking like it was our out-hole coil, which I think I've decided that it's not the original board that was for this machine. It was for something else, for another one. Re-sleeved our 3 coils. Cleaned up our vary targets. Cleaned up all the leaf switches and relays. Got them all cleaned up. Cleaned all of our inserts and put new bulbs in. So the underside of the playing field is ready to go. We are finished with it. And in the next episode, we're going to flip this over and start populating and putting our playing field back together. So if you like the video, you know what to do. Hit the like button. So until next time, see ya.